What's up, Strikopaths? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a game that had everyone hyped, and then delivered one of the most impressively bad launches of 2026. Neverness to Everness. The open world gacha that tried to be GTA meets anime meets supernatural mystery, and somehow face planted in almost every way possible. If you're thinking about diving in, maybe watch this first, because today we're counting down the top 10 worst things about NTE. Number 10 is bad, but number 1, it's almost impressive how bad it is. The brutal level gating. You're in the middle of a dramatic story moment, and the game slaps you with a reach level 22 first. Nothing kills immersion faster than the game telling you, sorry kid, come back when you've grinded more. Thanks for ruining the pacing. The performance. Even on decent hardware, you're dealing with frame drops, blurry characters, flickering shadows, and random stutters. On mobile, good luck. The game runs like it's melting your phone. Day one hotfixes helped, but it still feels like they launched it half-baked. The dialogue. There's so much talking. You'll sit through walls of text and cutscenes just to get back to the gameplay. Some of it's decent, a lot of it's skippable filler that makes you wish there was a skip everything button. The technical state at launch. Loading screen hell, quest breakers, black screens, characters turning into void creatures, people were getting soft locked, crashing every 10 minutes, or stuck on 100% loading for forever. For a big budget open world game in 2026, this is embarrassing. Alright, now we're past the easy ones, now we're going to start getting into the nitty gritty. The driving controls that feel like a drunk toddler. Oh boy. You'd think in a game that screams urban open world that they'd nail the cars, right? Nope. The handling is so bad it feels like you're steering a shopping cart on ice with square wheels. Turning, optional. Crashing into civilians, guaranteed. 10 out of 10 would rather walk. The lie. We were told we could purchase all kinds of properties and open up all sorts of businesses, but no. We can invest in one business with multiple locations. What if you don't want to run a cafe? Well, sucks to be you. You want to apply to work at the bank or the toy shop? Also sucks to be you. And the apartments are almost worse. Once you progress to the next apartment, you still own the previous one or ones, but you can't do anything with them. You can't rent them out to earn more passive income. They don't serve separate unique roles which would make owning all of them useful. They just become wasted money. For a game that markets itself on stylish anime characters, a lot of them look like they came from the bargain bin. Some are great, most generic. And don't get me started on the male characters. They look like the devs gave up halfway through. And very few of them are original. I know people are getting tired of the plagiarism accusation against Hada Studio, but the evidence speaks for itself. You've literally got the Wolfman from ZZZ. And hell, for that matter, the whole idea of anomalies themselves was taken straight from that game. And insert stereotypical, elegant, Eastern-inspired woman. Oh, who's this? Classy, mature woman in an oversized hat giving hot witch vibes? Every game needs one of her. I could go on. Child with a big giant weapon? See? Anyway. The quests often start with a very gripping mystery, but then love to rip you out of any momentum with mundane busywork. You'll go from chasing supernatural anomalies to delivering takeout, or listening to someone's life story for 20 minutes. Or for some odd reason chasing a music dream that there had been no indication we've ever had, all while the game pretends this is deep storytelling. And the conclusion of the mysteries comes out of nowhere. You can't even follow the logic leaps these characters are making in order to solve these mysteries. It's like they say, 1 + 1 = 5. And then it turns out, yeah, the answer was 5. But how did you get there with that evidence? To use a real example, and spoiler warning, in the Constantine quest, they laid out a really compelling mystery. And after we play hide and seek and find some dolls with letters on them, the MC stops to go over all they know and the questions that still remain. Among those questions is why the letters on the dolls are stitched with red thread. There was quite literally nothing indicating that the color of the thread on the dolls was in any way significant. But lo and behold, as it turns out, the name of the organization behind the mystery was the Scarlet Thread or letter or something. I don't really remember. The point is, there was zero in-universe way the MC could have known about that connection. So it's just bad writing. And there are so many examples just like that. And there's one most of you knew was coming: the heavy reliance on AI-generated assets. There are noticeable AI slop elements in the background, textures, and some environmental details. It makes parts of the game feel cheap and lazy despite the high production values in cinematics and character models. The worst part is that the main characters in cinematics do look genuinely high quality and handcrafted, which makes the cheap AI-generated filler stand out even more. It creates this bizarre whiplash where the game looks premium in marketing screenshots, but feels low effort the moment you explore the actual world. It's 2026, using AI tools isn't the crime here. Plenty of studios use them responsibly for concepting or filling minor gaps. But NTE feels like they used the AI as a crutch instead of a tool and then shipped it anyway. The result is a world that looks impressive from a distance, but collapses into uncanny, low-effort slop up close. This isn't just AI bad, this is we cut corners on actual world building and hoped you wouldn't notice. For a game that spent this much money on character models and flashy marketing, the heavy AI reliance feels genuinely insulting. And our number one worst thing about NTE, Tagido. This guy isn't just bad, he is a war crime against player sanity. This little gremlin is the game's official mascot, a small, irritating creature that communicates exclusively by repeating variations of his own name, in the most grating, high-pitched, nails-on-chalkboard voice imaginable. Think Paimon from Genshin, but they took everything that made her annoying and turned it up to 11, while removing any charm whatsoever. The devs clearly wanted him to be the cute, quirky comic relief companion. Instead, they created one of the most universally despised characters in recent gacha history. Within days of launch, Reddit was flooded with posts begging for a mute button, people openly saying they hope he dies in the story, and multiple threads with thousands of upvotes titled things like, "I want to beat Tagido to death with hammers." Why is he so soul-crushingly bad, though? He has zero personality beyond his gimmick. His entire existence is the repeating name bit. There's no depth, no cleverness, no endearing qualities. It gets old in under a minute, and then becomes psychological torture. Constant interruptions. He's glued to the main story and a huge number of side quests. Every dramatic moment, every attempt at world building, every emotional beat gets punctured by, like a malfunctioning smoke alarm. He's everywhere. The game forces him on you constantly. You can't escape him. Players report feeling genuine relief in the rare moments he's not on screen. Fake cuteness. The design tries to be adorable, but the execution just makes him look like a smug, punchable potato with eyes. The fact that he can be knocked over by bumping into him only adds to the cathartic joy of accidentally or intentionally running him over. Tagido single-handedly makes the early game feel like a hostage situation. He's not just annoying, he's the kind of character that makes you question whether the developers actually play-tested the game with the sound on, or if they secretly hate their own audience. In a game already struggling with writing and pacing, Tagido is the final nail in the coffin. He elevates Neverness to Everness from impressively bad to actively painful to experience. Players aren't just annoyed, they're traumatized. So there you have it, the top 10 worst things about Neverness to Everness. Is the game completely unplayable? Of course not. In fact, it has a lot of redeeming qualities, my favorite of which is actually the heist. It's a really fun game mode. The problem is that the negatives outweigh the positives. and it's not like the devs didn't know about them. Most of these were issues in the beta, and everybody that played had much the same feedback. Walking was too slow, climbing was abysmal, driving needed work, etc. But they addressed none of this feedback. It seemed like they're just gonna do what they're gonna do and damn the consequences. And that's not a good attitude in my opinion. But with all that being said, I'm gonna fly. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.